back and talk with him again?
Yes, and for 2 or 3 times, I didn't want to continue to bother him, but I just couldn't get enough of this guy, so I would go over on Saturday mornings, hoping that he would still have some time. And so we would go out. A couple of times we went out to Palmdale and go way out into the desert. This is back in '59, there's not much out there. And we would go out walking, his wife and the 2 girls and myself. And we would go out walking, and he would tell me about the different aliens who were here and the different kinds of aliens and where they've come from. And I'm a 19-year-old kid. I don't know what he's talking about, but I love it. I can't get enough of this guy. And he's telling me about the reptilian aliens as opposed to this group and that group, and some are our friends and some are the enemies. And some of them, he said, were under the earth, and some were above the earth, and they looked like us, etc. And then one day I went over on a Saturday morning to see him, and the house was totally empty, gone. They never said, the girl never came to tell me she was going, nothing. It just gone forever and ever.
That's wonderful. Amazing story. And when coming from someone you know and trust, that's in the time we still have available here, because this is going to take a little bit more time, I want to get your views. People are dropping off notes on 2012. And Jay, let's start with you. I mean, what the heck do you think is going to happen around 2012? I have said on the air that I think something's going to happen with the sun. I think it's going to be a celestial event.
Well, we're heading towards solar maximum, of course, and the things that I study, which are mostly alchemical in nature, do say that something is going to happen, probably with the sun and solar flaring, and some kind of cycle with the sun. But I don't know. I mean, I know this that 10 years ago when I started thinking about 2012, I pretty much thought it was more like a figment of our imaginations. And now every year that we get closer and closer, I get more and more worried because everything seems to be unfolding exactly like all the prophecies said that they would unfold. And so my feeling is that we're running out of time, and we're going to reach the point where there is no more time. And we'll be living in sort of an eternal now, but it's going to be very, very, very vicious and wicked. And I think when we get through the other side, it's going to be a really, really good world, but I don't think it's going to be good between now and then. And I think one of the books I would recommend for everyone is has nothing to do with aliens. It's called The Long Emergency. And it's about how to prepare for what's about to happen. I think everyone should read it. And I personally, I hope that there are alien forces that are going to help us through this, because we are in very serious trouble, and we're going to need an awful lot of help. I'm talking to the people in geology and oil, and they're telling me that a gallon of gas is going to be $15 by 2010. And $20 a gallon by 2013. So we're talking $400 to $700 to fill your gas tank. And I think there's going to be a lot of very, very upset people when food prices are going to be commensurately rising with this. And I don't know what to tell anyone.
Gasoline will be more than your monthly car payment.
Yeah. Well, in other words, it stopped. What you're saying is that this has stopped working. It's over. The only thing that's going right now is we're floating ahead on momentum. It's interesting to watch the stock market as being so buoyant, and it's just literally wishful thinking. It's going along, and they're trying to believe that things are as they used to be. And you have a situation where last week, I follow the markets a lot. I'm very interested in them. And last week, all of the commodity prognosticators were saying the bottom's going to drop out of oil, and the dollar's going to go up against the euro, and the dollar started rising against the euro. And then last week the oil went up
127.
127, and it touched 128 at a time when it wasn't supposed to be able to do that. The reason is we're running out. The secret is that most of the Middle East can't produce any more oil. right now. And so the Saudis have agreed to marginally increase their production, but it isn't going to make much of a difference. But you know, George, we're talking about the sun. I have been watching the situation with the sun, which has been extraordinary in the past year, because the sun has been much quieter at this point in its cycle than it should have been. In January, there was a reverse polarity sunspot, which usually signals the beginning of the next solar max. Only then nothing happened until 2 weeks ago. We had a material reach the Earth and be detected by satellites that came from a solar flare, but there was no visible solar flare on the surface of the sun. Then, just a few days ago, there was an eruption on the sun that was unlike anything we have ever seen before. If you see images of it, it is like a volcanic eruption coming out of the sun. There was an explosion on the sun that sent a shock wave across the whole surface of the sun 3 or 4 weeks ago. The sun is not acting in a way that we understand now. The sun has gone outside of the limits of our experience of what it does. And we really don't know what it's doing right now, in fact. And so I think that, George, your sense that the sun and Jay is going to be involved in this is probably just dead on. I'll tell you another thing that nobody talks about for some reason in relation to 2012, and this came to me because of, I get incredible, and you know, you guys, you send me emails to Whitley at Strieber.com, you think, oh, he never reads them. Oh, yes, I do. And anyway, a gentleman sent me an email and pointing out something so obvious, and I thought, you know, why don't we talk about this? Because we're not thinking about it. But 225 million years ago, there was an extinction on this planet called the Permian extinction. It was the greatest mass extinction that we know about in the fossil record. 96% of all species ceased to exist. The planet was almost sterilized. Where were we then? Well, we've come around to the same place in the galaxy that we were then. That's where we are right now.
Well said, Whitley. Roger, how about you?
Remember Y2K?
Yeah.
Well, it could be just as simple as the Mayan calendar ends in 2012, starts over again. Or these other predictabilities might be the case also. We don't know. And the two might not even be related. There are things that are going on, and not just the sun, but in our whole solar system. All the planets are increasing in temperature. Interestingly enough, the U.S. Naval Department of Geology 7 years ago said that the Earth's internal core, its molten core, is heating up.